in regard to your own.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today I'm going to be shining a spotlight on another indie horror author. Today I have with us, he's an author, and he has his sophomore book that's about to be come out under Unveiling Nightmares. I have with us today Jeremy Eads. Jeremy, welcome to the Horror Room.
Thank you, sir. I'm a little bit intimidated. You talk to a lot of people.
I know, man. I know. I've done it in less than a year, too. So I've been knocking them out, man.
Yeah, that's amazing. I was watching you do the interview with the director of Activated Man.
Yes.
That was a cool movie. You know,
yes.
I thought, well, you know, here I am, just some guy that lives in a cow field, you know, scribbled some.
But that's like one of my first like indie directors that was working on for a bigger budget. And when I say a bigger budget in indie, that's something over $100,000, you know. So,
Well, yeah. I mean, it had Sean Young in it. It had Kane Hodder in it, and God, the worst crush on Sean when I was young. But I mean, Kane Hodder, that's Jason.
Yeah,
you know, that's the man.
That's huge. That was definitely a fun interview and a fun movie as well.
No, I absolutely agree.
So okay, so your sophomore book is coming out, Reptile. Tell us a little bit about Reptile.
Well, in a nutshell, Reptile is about, you know, how the best intended or the best intentions often go astray. You know, because in the main character, his name is Mark. He's constantly trying to do right and fix things and solve people's problems, and it just doesn't go well. You know, there's all kinds of unintended consequences, and that's really what the book is about. You know.
Now, by this being book number 2, your first book, which was The Lodge, it was like number 2 on Amazon horror list, right?
It was. Yeah, that was pretty wild.
So to have your first book be so successful, and now it's round 2, what was the pressure like?
I don't know. I don't really. I worry about you know, the tap turning off. You know, I actually work several books down the road from the one that I'm trying to get published. So I mean, the Reptile is the start of a series, and I'm, you know, 3 books into that by now.
Wow.
You know, and what worries me is, you know, the dreaded writer's block. But thus far, no. I mean, as far as sales go, I mean, yeah, I guess you always worry about, you know, making sales and you know, trying to make a living from it. But I feel so incredibly blessed with the success that I've had. You know, I try not to get greedy about it.
Yeah.
You know, try to stay humble.
Because I mean, the term sophomore slump, you know, it goes for in sports, it goes for in the music industry, filmmaking, and I'm assuming as an author as well, you know, there's that pressure that, like, you know, you do so well on your first try, like, how do you beat that, or how do you, you know, like, you don't want to.
Well, you just, you know, you're telling a different story. You know, I mean, the Lodge happens in the same town that Reptile happens in, and that's just about all they've got in common. But Reptile is, you know, to be punny, a completely different animal. You know, whereas the Lodge is about the devil's bed and breakfast. Reptile is about a kid that can turn into a dragon. And, you know, he experiences his growing pains both as he ages and gets more mature. And, you know, he's got his mentor to deal with. He's got a group of wasp women, for lack of a better term. Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty wild story. You know, there's gargoyles, there's the wasp women, there's you know, a rape cult, slimy car salesman. I mean, it's just all kinds of stuff going on in Reptile.
And I don't know which one's the worst out of them. Is it the slimy car salesman? I mean, because those guys are ruthless.
Well, this one is really awful. Yeah, he's got just enough money to be a big fish in the little pond.
Okay.
You know, and his son is just a complete. We'll just say his son is very icky.
Okay.
And he's got just enough clout, just enough pull to keep his son out of trouble. Serious trouble.
So
but that doesn't mean that the boy doesn't still, you know, get into things.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's dirty. They're all dirty. In his family. But he's definitely the patriarch of the slimy salesman.
So when you're writing your book and you come up with all these different characters, do you do some kind of like outline on like character development? Like, okay, this slimy car salesman, these are the characteristics that he's going to have. Do you do any type of outline or character development?
I do not. In fact, the only other person I've met is a gentleman named Jeffrey Boyd, I think. I may have messed up his last name. If I did, Jeffrey, I'm sorry. And he's the only one I know that writes like I do, in that it's kind of like watching a movie and you're just trying to get down everything you can as fast as possible. You know, I'm just trying to record every detail that I see. And, you know, sometimes the story goes the way I think, sometimes it doesn't. But that's, you know, the cool thing about the ride is you never know.
You never know. Now, do you already have an ending in mind, or is that something you work your way up to?
For Reptile?
For any of your books?
Oh, the ending for the Reptile series it kind of surprised me. I didn't expect it to take the twists and turns that it did. But the Lodge, I kind of knew that was the only way it could finish. You know, a big apocalyptic showdown. You know, it's like that's just really the only way that could happen. But you know, I mean, lots of times I'm just as surprised as somebody that's reading the stories later. You know? I did not see that coming.
Now, after you finished the Reptile, did you do any rewrites? Did you look over it? Did you have an editor or anybody look over it and was like, oh shit, this huge chunk right here doesn't make any sense. I need to form this into something else.
I've got a editor that she's done the books that I have out now. Her name is Chelsea, and she is wonderful. She's brilliant, and she is absolutely ruthless. So you know, when I do things that don't make sense, she's real quick to jump on, and I believe that she delivers a level of polish to the stories that I would have never achieved without her. Yeah, Chelsea Cambe, but she's absolutely brilliant.
It's amazing. Now I interview a lot of, not only interview, but I read a lot of indie authors, books, novellas, and some of them said, you know, which I can imagine is tough to have the funds to get an editor. it's tough to get your project edited, period. Do you think editing is important, no matter if you are a
Oh,
independent?
oh, absolutely, absolutely, 100%. Do not send out unpolished work. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Uh, there's resources out there that even if uh, you can't afford high end professional to clean your work up. There's people out there that can still help you. I mean, there's groups on Facebook and things you can join, and you can look for editors. You can go on Fiverr and probably find somebody fairly cheap there. Uh, I've been really fortunate in that uh, I've had lots and lots and lots of jobs, and I've fallen on my face all over over and over again, and I had a little bit of savings to fall back on when I finally decided to take this path. So I was able to uh, hire an editor and get that level of polish that is really necessary uh, to get an editor to take notice. I mean, they deal with a lot of mess. They really do. They get absolutely drowned, and uh, folks just do one run through and think I'm brilliant. This is it, and this is wonderful, and it can't be improved. And here you go, just be in awe of my genius.
Mhm.
And well,
I'm telling you that as a reader, I can definitely tell a book that didn't go through the editor, because I mean it doesn't flow. It doesn't flow well, and sometimes there's huge grammatical mistakes where you're like, I think I understand what they're saying, but do I? And then like as a reader, you don't want to be thinking all that. You don't want to be like, wait a minute, who's that character? I never heard. Where the hell did he come from? I just think there's big pieces are missing when someone is not looking over your work.
well, I mean, you need that extra pair of eyes. I mean, the first book that I ever wrote uh, was about a rock and roll band, and after my first draft, I mean, that's exactly what I was thinking, was that, wow, I'm amazing. And I got to looking at it, and I did just a quick find, this word. And I had 23,000 instances of the word that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that did not flow at all.
I bet.
Not even a little bit. And my mother, God bless her, she read through it and was like, son, edit this. So we went back through and trimmed it up. But you got to have another pair of eyes. You got to be aware, and you got to have thick enough skin to be like, yeah, okay, that's wrong. I need to fix that. Yeah. 23,000 that's is way too many.
Yes, it is. It is. But I can imagine even for my full time job, I do a lot of writing for proposals and SMS and stuff like that, and I have to go by at least 3 times myself, and then I send it to someone else to look over it, because once you get into that mood of writing, like you start getting a million that's, and you don't realize that they're even there.
Yeah, and you can read over it and still not see it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many times did I read over the word that and it just didn't register?
It makes sense.
Yeah, it's entirely possible to be blind, but I've learned since that in addition to another pair of eyes, another thing that I find useful, which I mean it wouldn't do you much good because I guess you're on a time crunch.
Mm-hmm.
but to set it aside for at least a week and don't look at it, don't mess with it, don't open it, and then go back. Uh, really, I would recommend like 3 weeks. But if you can leave it alone for just a week, uh, you're gonna see a lot of stuff that
Because
probably gonna embarrass you a little bit.
even with this YouTube channel, right? So I do a lot of interviews a week, by the way. I just do a lot of videos a week. And like I'm posting a video every single day. So it's boom, 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 boom. So it is common for me for a author or a filmmaker to message me, hey, you spelled the title of my movie wrong, or you spelled my name wrong, or something like that. And it's easy for me to miss it because I'm doing such a volume. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, I
Of
mean,
videos. And I've actually learned I have to slow down. But even if I slow down, you can still make that mistake because it's only one set of eyes.
that other set of eyes is just invaluable. And in fact, if you've got more than just that, if you're fortunate enough to where you can have lots of people read it and give you honest feedback, honest critique, that's even better. But if you've got people that are reading it that say, "Oh, this is good,"
To everything,
well,
yeah.
what about it's good?
Yeah.
It's really good. That
That doesn't help at all.
but if you've got somebody that says, "How many times are we going to use the word that?" Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, we gotta fix that.
So when it comes to marketing, the second thing I'm assuming in indie horror, in anything indie, is how do you get your project out there? How do you get your name out there? How do you get your story out there? So, like for the Lodge to be number 2 on the Amazon horror rankings, did you do any kind of marketing? Did you, or was it just luck?
Well, you've got to be your own biggest fan. That's another piece of advice that I would have for somebody. As an indie author, you have to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to, even introverts like myself. You have to go out there and say, "Look, this book is amazing. You need to read it." And you join, groups on Facebook. I've done a lot of Facebook marketing. Uh, but there's, BookBub and Book Talks, and uh, I know authors that they're mostly on Instagram. I'm not, but I know that it works for some people. Uh, but you have to be out there pushing. Uh, if you don't, why would anybody else take an interest?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much material out there. You have to jump up and down and say, "Look at me, look at me."
Hmm.
I mean, as much as you hate it, and
Yeah.
and I absolutely despise doing that. Uh, but you have to do it.
Yeah.
And unless your last name is King or Kuntz or Rowling, then you
Yeah.
you're going to have to push your work.
Yeah.
And that's what I think a lot of people don't realize when they begin writing, be it film or whatever, uh, how much more is involved than just, I thought I was just going to write the words and collect the checks, and it
Mhm.
doesn't work that way. You've got to become uh, an expert at marketing. You've got to, become good at networking in social media. You've got to uh, learn how to reach out and talk to people that you ordinarily wouldn't.
Mhm.
I mean, for over 10 years that I had that my Facebook account, I had 135 people on there that maybe 30 of them would respond when I posted something. You know, I mean, it was just a tiny, tiny little, and I was totally fine with that. You know, it's like, hey, but you know, then the book got signed, and it's, you know, oh well, if I don't push this, if I don't let people know, then nobody's gonna know.
Yep.
And then what's the point? You know, I mean, we're all in it for people to, you know, to get our stories out there, for folks to read it, and for me personally, you know, I mean, I hope that I provide a little bit of escapism. You know, I want somebody that reads my story to be able to vanish into that world and, you know, let this one drop away from. I had a friend tell me that the best thing about my books is that he was always glad he wasn't in them.
That's good. Yeah. But I agree with you. You got to be a fan of your book first because of your work. Because like I go to a lot of horror conventions, and you know I do the videotape walkthrough of the horror conventions for my channel. But and there's a lot of indie horror authors there. They got their booths. I'm assuming that they paid for these booths. I can imagine how much they paid, but I'm pretty sure it's not cheap. And I walk past some of them, and they are just on their phone, like not engaging with anybody who's walking past them. And then you have the ones who are like, "Hello, hey, how's it going? Here's my new book."
You know, and guess who makes the sales? You know, I
It's
mean,
the guy who talks.
you know, you have to come out of the shell.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. Uh, I mean, if you want to be successful with it, you know, because not everybody really. I guess that percentage is probably minuscule. Folks that can just write a book and then boom, Big Five picks them up and they're off and running. You know, I mean, if that was common, it wouldn't make news.
Yeah.
You know, and it always does. You know, oh, they came out of nowhere, and you know, I wonder about that. You know, did they come out of nowhere, or did they push and push and push? But you know, but you have to get out there. You have to talk. You have to. Uh, I mean, like I'm trying my best not to look at my fat neck here, and just keep going.
I didn't even laugh.
You know, you gotta just accept it. I mean, look how red I've gotten now. Oh my goodness.
I didn't mean to laugh.
Yeah, well, sense of humor is absolutely critical. You know,
it's important. It's important too to make light of yourself. People who take themselves too serious, I know people are weirdos, but no, I agree. Like you have to. So I'm a sales guy. You know, I'm a marketing background. Like, and I call it a boots on the ground. Like you have to, if you're indie, which means you don't have a big machine pushing behind you doing marketing and all that. You got to do it yourself, and which means like if you're an introvert, you got to step out of that. You got to roll. You got to do podcasts and YouTube channels and interviews and
hey, you have to. Yeah,
bingo halls,
absolutely.
all that stuff.
Yeah, and it's not fun. It's a scary thing. Like I said, I absolutely despise going look at me, look at me, look at me. But I believe in my stories.
Yeah.
And I know that I can take you away from the world for a few hours. And a lot of people appreciate that. You know, I mean, I think a lot of folks out there are looking for that. You know, I had my publisher at Wicked House look at Reptile first because they had published The Lodge. And his advanced readers, they judge on a scale of 1 to 10. And my average with all of his readers was a 9.5 for Reptile. I mean, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I haven't had anyone yet that I mean, maybe they thought there was too many characters, or they thought there was this going on, or that should have happened, or whatever. But all of them got swept along. Everybody gets sucked in, and that's what you want. That's what, and I believe I can do that, and I mean I know I can do that, and that's why I'm here ignoring my frog neck.
By the way, listen, I sit in front of this camera for about 2 hours, 2 hours a day, 4 days a week, sometimes 5 days a week. And I'm like looking at myself too, I'm like, oh shit, my fucking head looks fucking huge. Like, oh my god, I shave. I'm like, oh my god, I look super old. Like, yes, listen, it's not.
Yeah, I could turn my head just a little bit, and you can see all the gray running wild everywhere. And when did that happen?
I'm looking like I'm talking to someone like, is something in my teeth? Like, what is that? A piece of broccoli or something? Like, yeah. Like, I'm telling you right now, this will make you fucking self-conscious. You do this every damn day, look at yourself every day.
It really will, and then you go back and look at it later. It's like, I don't look like that. I don't sound like that.
I sound like that. I sound like Kermit.
Dude, no, that can't be right.
Don't a YouTube channel every single day, man. I'm telling you, make you self-conscious and shit, man.
I mean, what can you do? You gotta fight through it. I mean, that's.
Listen. I look and sound this way. I can't fucking do nothing else about it. This is who I am. So it is what it is.
I just tell people that this is the face I was born with. I can't do nothing about it.
But one of the things you were saying about, hey, look at me. Hey, look at me. I fucking hate doing it too. I'm telling you right now, and I don't know if some of these people in some of these indie book groups or horror groups on Facebook, I don't know if they think like, oh my god, this guy's always promoting, this guy's always blah, blah, blah. I don't want to do it, but I have to. It's a necessary thing to when you're I don't want to say at the bottom, but when you don't have a following, you got to build your following some kind of way, and you have to do, hey, look at me.
Right.
You have to.
I mean, I've had people that fussed at me for like sending out friend requests, or maybe put too many posts in a thread or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, well. I'm sorry that bothers you, but it's like you said, you've got to build your audience some way.
Yeah.
But I think that most of the indie horror community is understanding and very sympathetic, and just about everybody gets it. I mean, I've been fussed at a few times, but I've had way more people tell me, good job, keep doing, keep going. And you're not going to make everybody happy all the time, and you got to accept that too.
Yep. In the indie horror groups, I've really never had any problems. It is the horror groups, not the indie groups, the horror groups. So that's like the slasher apps and stuff like that. That's where I've gotten a lot of, make them to your self-promoting or something like that. And like, that's when, but in the indie groups, I've never gotten issues at all. They're supportive.
Well, a big one that I'm part of is Books of Horror on Facebook. And there's, 40, 50,000 people in that group. And I learned an etiquette there, which I try to apply everywhere, in that you give more than you take. If you're in the different groups, you do a couple reviews of other people's work, or you promote somebody else, and then you promote yourself. And then, I try to do like a 3-to-1 kind of ratio.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, sometimes they'll tell me good job. Sometimes they'll tell me, we're not going to let this go because this is too much self-promotion.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
See, I kill two birds with one stone. One stone. I'm promoting my interviews, which means I'm promoting an indie artist's work. But there, it happens to be on my channel. So I mean,
I mean,
it's
to me, I think that looks like a win-win for you.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody,
exactly.
and for me too. I get promoted by you and your channel,
Mhm.
and then conversely, I'll throw this link up on my channel, and I'll put it up in the groups that I'm in, and hopefully draw more people.
We're actually dance partners. You and I were actually dance partners. Whoever comes on and interview me, I say we're dance partners because if we do it together correctly, my followers are going to follow you, and your followers who don't know who the hell I am are going to follow me. Like it's a win-win.
Absolutely. I mean,
It's a win-win.
I'm a firm believer that cooperation occurs at the top,
Mhm.
and competition occurs at the bottom.
Yes.
I think that the way to be successful is for folks to work together, and no matter what the medium is, okay, I write, you have your channels, we can help each other grow. And how is that bad? I mean, I can't stand folks that feel like they have to gatekeep, and well, I had to struggle to get here, so you have to struggle too. Why? If I can help, I do. I mean, and I mean, understandably, you can't do everything for everyone, but you do what you can,
Yeah.
and you help where you can, and I believe it comes back to.
I 1% do, and I 1%. I mean, my channel has grown significantly in the last year, but it's because, like, I feel like I'm doing something good for the indie. I hope I am. I hope people realize that I'm trying to. I'm such a huge indie horror fan from a kid, and like it's just like they don't get their just dues. I mean, you go into YouTube right now and type in indie horror, you don't see shit. You see me. It's like there's no place for indie horror individuals to really go to get that spotlight.
And that's so sad. I mean, I was raised on the cheesy B horror movies of
Me too.
the 80s and in the night,
the trauma, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Fell in love with it at an early age, and always wanted to do it, and only recently got brave enough to try. But it's a real shame, because there's a lot of talent out there that's not big five writers. There's a lot of just compelling and just narratives that make your heart pound.
Yes.
And nobody hears of these people. Nobody knows these people, and that sucks.
Because
how are we
going to find the next Stephen King, Dean Koontz, whoever, if big publishing companies don't want to take on new writers?
And if the only thing that the masses are looking at are what those big five publishers are pushing out,
mm-hmm.
you miss some. It's like in the music industry, there's probably what you hear on the radios, like maybe 2 or 3% of the music that's actually out there.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad.
Mm-hmm.
You got to find folks that'll help you, and in turn, you help where you can.
Yep.
And it all comes back around.
Comes around. Everybody grows. Everybody grows. So, all right. So, Jeremy, I'm going to ask you 2 quick horror questions. I'm assuming you're a horror fan, so I'm going to ask you 2 random horror questions. You ready?
Are you going to put me on the spot now?
Yep, I'm putting you on the spot. All right,
let's go.
What was the first horror movie that you saw that scared the shit out of you? Like made you like, whoa.
Easy answer there. I was very young and I saw it again several years later, and it was more comical than it was scary. But at the time, the first viewing, it absolutely scared the shit out of me. It's a movie called The Beast Within.
I've never seen that.
It's about a boy that gets possessed by a demon, and then the demon comes out and like leaves his skin hanging in a tree. And as a kid, it was like, oh my god, what the hell,
Yeah.
But I mean, going back and looking at it now, it's like, well, the effects don't really hold up, and it's kind of silly. There's a lot of overacting,
Mhm.
kind of stuff, and yeah, it's like, but yeah, if I'm being honest, that was the first one. Either that or there was an episode of Fraggle Rock, that Wembley in the Terrible Tunnel, which was,
Fraggle Rock.
oh my god, it was horrible. It was. I mean, you're laughing. You're laughing. Do you think I'm making this up? Wembley in the Terrible Tunnel. You can probably find it on YouTube.
All right, I'm writing this down.
Dead Fraggles floating around in the ghosts calling and leading people. Oh god, yeah, that was scary too. But The Beast Within was actually the first movie, I think, that really really got under my skin.
Had you up all night and everything.
Yeah, I was just scared to death. But I think as far as movies go, I think possession movies are typically fairly intense.
Yeah.
I think that by and large, possession movies, they make your hair stand up. It's like, oh god, yeah, maybe.
But it's also too.
I mean, I'm not going to say anything about the latest Exorcist because that was embarrassing.
I bash that on every interview. I bash that damn movie on every interview. But
I'll say by and large, I mean the new Exorcist was like 2 hours I'll never get back.
Yeah, it was great.
And I can't really spare anymore.
Anybody, I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, I like the new Exorcist," right? Now, and some of them are filmmakers. I'm like this. Ugh, like if you like that movie, like I'm terrified to watch any of your movies. Like that is not a good. I can see you saying, "Okay, that wasn't bad." I can say that, but for you to say that's a great movie, stop it. Like, what is your definition of a great movie?
I just say opinions vary.
Anybody who's saying
I'll just
it just trust their judgment on movies.
Yeah, and that's a thing too. Is like if you believe that the new Exorcist was a great movie, I'm going to have doubts about anything you recommend. Yeah. I'm not going to come out and argue with you and fight about it. Those battles just aren't worth it to me.
Nope. But if you
however,
a movie to me, I'm like, nah, I'm good.
That's exactly it. Like, yeah, thanks, but I'm gonna take the 0. I'll pass. I mean, it's not for me.
So what's a movie that okay, the second question. So what's a movie that everybody was like, horror movie, everybody was like, you have to go see this movie. You have to go see this movie. It's so good. It's so great. And you saw it. And you were like, that was okay. But I don't understand what the hype was about.
I had a lot of friends that told me to go see The Nun.
Ooh.
And it really didn't do anything for me. I mean,
movie, but it's definitely not a good movie. It's not entertaining to me.
I mean, it was one of those where, I found myself checking my watch.
Yeah.
When is this fucking thing over?
I agree.
But my nephew, he surprised me with one. It was came out in like 2010-ish. Sinister, is that the name of it? With the kids in the film.
Yes.
And the demon in the film makes it. Oh, I like that one.
Had my skin crawling. I saw that in the theaters, and it was whoa, I was in this. I didn't know. I walked in. I was like, oh, okay, this is a Blumhouse horror movie. And this is a coin flip. This is gonna be good or not. And I was shocked how good that movie was.
Yeah, that one just, I mean, it grabbed me by the throat and took off running.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, damn, look at this.
It was rough.
And one thing that I really appreciated about that movie is that, a lot of the horror was, psychological. It was, it was, I mean, he crawled right up in your head, and, he left you squirming, and he was just like, oh God. Yeah. And they didn't do a lot of jump scares, which I was glad of, because I really feel like jump scares are kind of the lowest form of horror. Jump scares almost never have that intended effect on me. He's like, loud noise. It's like, okay.
But that movie just had me feeling dirty, like, ooh, what's going on here? But it didn't really show anything, like when like
the first Paranormal Activity did me that way too.
By the way, I say that all the time. The first Paranormal Activity scared the shit out of me.
The rest of them, whatever.
Yeah,
but the first one I thought was fucking terrifying, especially at the end when it just like slams the door in your face, and when the lights come on, it's like, what just happened to me?
And I was a grown ass man too. I was definitely. I remember the story. I was on a double date, and I went to go see that movie, and I was screaming the whole entire time in the movie theater, and like. This was the first.
I went to see that on a date as well, and I remember telling her, the girl I was with at the time, I was like, if something grabs my ankle, I'm going sideways, just completely sideways.
But she was looking. But this was the first time her I even met or on a date, and I am in the movie theater, and I was like so embarrassed. But that movie scared the shit out of me. Paranormal Activity. I love all the Paranormal Activity movies, by the way, but that first one, I agree.
The first one it is the one that really stood out to me. I've seen 2 more, and then I kind of gave up on it.
I love all of them. I can watch all of them.
I did the same thing with Saw. Absolutely loved the first Saw.
Mm-hmm.
One of the few movies where you didn't see the twist coming. Well, I didn't see the twist coming at the, when Jigsaw stands up off the floor, and it's just like, holy shit. Yeah. I mean that. Oh. And then the second one was like, okay. And then the third one was like,
and it just went on too long. And like I say all the time, Saw X came out. I was like, do we need a 10th Saw? Saw 10 is so fucking good. It is so good. It really is.
Okay, well, on your recommendation, I'll watch it, because I haven't seen any of the ones past 4.
If you watch my videos up until Saw X came out, I was every video. I was like, I don't know why they make another fucking Saw. I'm not going to see no fucking Saw X. Blah, 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 blah. And I went to go see Saw X, and I was like this. Oh shit! I have to go back onto my channel and tell people how great this movie is now, and take back my words. But it's so good.
I'll check it out. I'll check it out on your recommendation.
It's as good as the original, if not better. I'm being dead serious. I'm putting it out there. It's as good.
That's a bold statement, my friend, because the original one was.
I know. I don't. By the way, I don't say shit like that. Listen, it is as good as the original, if not better.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll definitely check it out now.
It is a fun ride. I hope they end it right there and don't make any more Souls. That and on top, do not make anything else. That is a masterpiece. Leave it alone. All right, Jeremy. Where can everyone find you, my friend?
Well, you can always find me lurking around on Facebook. I tried to start an author page, but everybody just went to my personal page anyway. But the author page is still up. It's still, on Facebook, you can look for Old School Scary, and it'll pop right up. Old School Scary. And if you don't want to do that, then jeremy.eads.5 and send me a request, and I'll everybody heads to that one. You know, I mean, I'm creeping up on 2,600,
I did the
which
same
I
thing.
know for some is small numbers, but for a guy that lives in a cow field, that's a big deal.
It is. I did the same thing. I have my personal Facebook and I have the horror realm thing, and like I was getting so many people that were going to my personal Facebook instead of my horror realm. I said, "Oh fuck it." I mean, some people go to it, but I just use my personal because it's just so much easier.
That I did the same thing. You know, I could just I think I've got maybe 50 followers on the author page.
I got 200 something, but I feel like I got like 600 on my personal, which is, and they're not even like I'm not saying that. By the way, horror creators, you guys are my friends, but they are interview people. You know what I mean? They are like filmmakers,
Right.
authors that are my friend. I would say 70% of the people on my personal page are fall into that realm. The other people are people I actually know. You know.
Well, you can subtract 135 from my friends list, and that's all since I've been writing. You know, and then that 135 is the ones that were there for like people I knew in high school and
Yeah.
what have you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, ex girlfriends, ex wives now.
I don't think this girlfriend's my Facebook. I don't think I do. No, I don't. I definitely don't. Yeah.
How, but on Amazon, my Amazon pages. I don't really uh, promote that either, and I've got a couple hundred followers there, which is I don't know. I just think that's just cool as hell.
Isn't it? It's cool.
But
Isn't it cool to have fans? Cool
I'm
shit.
still getting used to it. It's still a concept that's still, I don't have my brain around it.
It's cool to have fans. Like let's say I've been doing this for a year. I'm like, I got subscribers. I got people who actually tune in to watch my fucking shit every day. Like, wow, I got fans. Okay.
Yeah, I've got a friend that has just recently moved in with me. The guy I've known since high school. So I mean, we've been friends since I was 15. I ain't been 15 in a minute. But I was talking about the interview that I was about to do with you, and I was like, I'm nervous, man, because he's talked to these people that have worked with all these big people, and he looked at me, he's like, and they're almost as important as you, huh?
Exactly.
I'm like, fuck. All right, okay, back to earth. Yeah, thanks, man. Just neatly pop my ego.
No, but you're
Yeah,
as
okay.
important as anybody else in the indie horror. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody in indie horror is the same. It is. It's an even playing field for the most part.
Well, I have so much newfound respect for how hard everybody in this community works, and that's not just writers. That's the artists. That's folks like yourself. That's the people that are doing covers. Those are the editors out there that are hustling to make a living. I mean, there's so many folks working so hard, and I had no idea. I had no idea that many people worked as hard as they do.
I mean,
But
Crystal from Nightmare on Billing, she busts her fucking ass. Like she is rolling.
you have to. I mean, I look at people like that as just pure motivation. I mean, I see somebody that's really working hard, and it's like, okay, I need to get off my dead ass and start doing something because they're working and I should be working and I'm not, and
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought to myself that maybe after this interview I'd get some video game time in, but that's probably not going to happen. I'm probably going to do more work, especially since running my mouth now. It's like,
well, I'm going to the next interview, so so it's no breaking for me. Listen, Jeremy, it's a blast having you on, man. Listen, everybody, go onto Amazon and get your copy of The Lodge and look out for Reptile coming through the Unveiling Nightmare.
And sub to Travis at the Horror Realm.
Yes. By the way, I don't say that enough. Please subscribe to
I'll say it.
Thank
I
you.
mean, there's a lot of interesting people that you can learn a lot about the business. You can learn a lot about the folks that are out there working. Travis does great work. He took my nervousness, made me feel totally comfortable, and you should sub. You should sub. You should sub.
And guess what? I just made another fan in Jeremy. See, I'm a fan. He's a fan now. See.
Hey, I'm subbed. I'm subbed. I can prove that.
We got fans, Jeremy. We got fans.
I got my notification bell clicked and everything.
I love it, man. I love it. Listen, I got some good shit coming up soon, so please hit that.
I'll keep an eye out.
Notification. Got some good stuff coming up. All right. Well, everyone, thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.